and welcome to the Gump Report. This is the Gump Report. You never know what you're going to get. I'm making this after my Impact review, and admittedly, I'm still a little pissed off about what happened with Ishii. Oh, why didn't they do that Rebellion, the Monsters Ball match? Why? Why? Stupid booking. But this is just me. This video is about the inspiration, about Jesse and Cassie. Now, I was told by one of my subscribers that they have left pro wrestling. And I'm going, really? Say, yeah. And I'm going like, I didn't know how to feel about that. Not that I'm a fan of the inspiration. Not that I hated them. But I was never fond of how they were brought in. Guys, if you remember, in October, the inspiration was brought in to the ones who were going to win those titles. Now, at the time, if I remember correctly, it was Rosemary and Havoc. I can't remember. I don't think it was the inspiration against the influence. I can't remember. But either it was Havoc or Rosemary, or it was the influence. I just don't remember who. If I'm right, it was them. Yeah, it was them. It was Havoc and Rosemary versus the inspiration. And they not only still did their old stick way too soon. And I said it in my video. I was freaking pissed off because of what was stated on Chris Van Vlien's podcast. Because I saw what Cassie talked about, and I saw Jessica McKay's own podcast. Her doing it separately from Cassie, because Cassie did it and they brought in Jesse. And they both talked about it. And then Chris Van Vlien had one specifically with Jesse by herself. No, it was, I'm sorry. Chris Van Vlien did do one with Cassie and then one with Jessica. But it was Renee who did it with both the women. And that's the one I'm referring to. But I did also see the Cassie one, and I also did Jessica McKay. I did see them all three of them. Kind of getting the blend together. But the point is, in each one of those podcast videos, they talked about how they felt what the WWE did, separating them, and they were never feeling 100% right. Jessica was really depressed. She was not happy. She was trying to get over, but she was not happy without Cassie. And I said myself, clearly in one of my Gump reports, that when it was about her being released, because Cassie got released first, and then Jessica got released next. And I said it 100% that Jessica should not go back into wrestling immediately. She needs to take about a year off and take a break, because she was not right. I could tell she wasn't right. She wasn't. But guess what? Within a few months, they end up in Impact Wrestling. They make a beautiful video packages for them. They made a beautiful Titantron intro for them. And they bring them in for Bound for Glory. And going against Havoc and Rosemary, who were pretty dominant at the time, they jobbed them out for them. That made no freaking sense to me. None. Because you didn't give these women a chance to really build up into their new characters, which, literally, they didn't show it. They kept the original stick of the Iconics more than anything else throughout the entire 6-month run. And that upset me clearly. Because, as I said, I've seen all three of their videos. The one that they did with Renee, both Cassie and Jesse did, and the one where Cassie was by herself and Jessica was by themselves. And they said, both of them, on all three videos, that they were never happy. They felt uncomfortable by themselves. They tried it. It didn't work. They didn't 100% feel comfortable. They tried, and at certain points, they were kind of getting into it. And then Cassie got released, and then finally Jessica got released. And they both came back together, and they said they both sat down in all three videos, and they said they're going to try and work out a new type of way to be, a new type of a re-beginning, a reimagining. But what did they do? When they first showed up on Impact TV at Bound for Glory, the very first thing they did, inspiration? Really? You didn't even try the original stuff at first, the new stuff at first, and then slowly build into the old stuff. You went straight into it. They sounded good until they did the inspiration. I knew this ain't right. And then on top of that, they were not booked properly. Because after they won, there was no real good challenges for them. The video packages in the back were all right when it came to Rosemary and Havoc, but they had no one other than them to really deal with, other than when it came to the influence when Tennille Dashwood finally came back. And then when Tennille came back, and I even said this multiple times on multiple videos, Tennille coming back, they have to make a story about three Aussies, one who went to WWE before them, and they could build a story around that. All three of these women building a story about how proud they were all working together, and then the inspiration and the influence working together, trying to make something really interesting to make it work. And they didn't even go there. They barely went there. And then when Tennille couldn't show up, maybe either because of COVID protocol or that she was working somewhere else, in the end, the inspiration did nothing. Nothing. It felt empty. And the key of this entire situation was not their wrestling ability, because I have said that Cassie was a better wrestler than Jessica. She just is. Doesn't mean Cassie was the best wrestler between the two. She was just a better wrestler. Jessica, she always seemed to be a bit awkward in the ring. Always. Doesn't mean she was 100% awful. She was better than Sienna Evans. 100%. Way better. Now, for you, you'll say no, but for me, I'm looking at it objectively. How her moves were, generally. How she bumped if she didn't look awkward. And how she tagged in, tagged out. Also, how she did her character. Because I take that all into account. Not many wrestling reviewers will even say that. I take into account, understand guys, for me, I don't know about anybody else, I take your ring performance, how you do your holds, how you basically get over on your opponent, and also how you sell for your opponent, and also how you play to the crowd and show your character while doing it. I take that into account. I may not do it all the time very well, but I try to. And Jessica, for her part, at least most of the time she did okay. Was her ring work great? No. But it was better than Sienna Evans. Flat out. But now, what do we got going into now almost 8 minutes? Just finding out that now they departed Impact Wrestling for new future endeavors. Now, most people will be sad that the inspiration now has indefinitely gone away from pro wrestling. They're going to do something else. Some people, I think that person said, I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe movie, maybe they're going to do an OnlyFans or something. That it's obvious you can see what that person's thinking. I mean, because of Toni Storm, a lot of people think a lot of female wrestlers are going to start doing OnlyFans. Guys, come on. Not everyone's going to do that. If anybody was going to do it, Ty Conchi would. Because her and Sammy Guevara made it very clear that they are very open about their relationship. I mean, not to go off with other people, but they're very, very open about how much they enjoy sex. And if it was going to be anybody, it would be Ty Conchi. As it stands, I don't think she's done an OnlyFans yet. But don't think every female wrestler that has a nice pair of tits and a nice pair of ass cheeks, and possibly a ladies area that you want to plunge yourself into, that's for a man and a woman. Women can do it too. They can get dildos or their fingers or whatever. You get my point. Not like no one doesn't want to see it. But I don't see them doing that. But honestly, after what I saw again, 3 separate videos, one with Renee and with her show, and 2 with Chris Van Vliet, each one of them separate. I am like, as a wrestling fan, if I was someone who loved the inspiration, I would be thoroughly disappointed right now. Because if I watched everything of the inspiration, like, what was her name? Power Ranger girl, I believe. What is her name? The Power Ranger, I forgot her name. I did say something about her. It's been so long since I last saw her channel. But she loves the inspiration. I have no idea how she feels right now. And if I was an Inspiration fan, I'm sure I would say, well, I'm glad that as long as they're happy, fine. But knowing what they said, I would be like, what was the point of going to Impact Wrestling? We know that Jessica was not right in the head. We know Cassie was not 100% happy either. Why did they rush back into wrestling after leaving WWE and they were not 100% happy, both of them? This feels like a complete waste of time for them. Yes, they get the option to be champions again, and they got a good payday, and they got to be on TV. But honestly, for the fans, it feels like a waste of time. Because if you're a real Inspiration fan, a real iconic fan, you know both of them were not happy. And now, after just barely 6 months with the company, they depart and now indefinitely are gone from wrestling. That shows you they should have never went back into wrestling, that they should have took more time away from wrestling instead of trying to rush back. It was a big damn waste of time. Now mind you, I want to make this clear. I'm not against either one of them. I don't hate Cass. I don't hate Jess. I'm hoping that if they both were not happy before going to Impact because they were not right because of how WWE treated them and they were depressed, maybe Jessica was not right. And I said this easily in one of my Gump reports that Jessica should take at least a year away. If she wasn't right and Cassie is not going to be by herself again and she leaves indefinitely because Cassie isn't right, she should have never went into wrestling again. They should have stayed away for at least a year. I'm sure they saved money up. They did investments. They should have just took some time off. Jessica has a husband. I'm sure he makes money. Cassie's husband's working AEW. She's got money. Why didn't they take a year off at least? Just to take a year off to really reevaluate themselves. No, within 3 months. 4 months, barely 4 months. After Jessica had been released from WWE, they jumped right back into wrestling. And now within 6 months, after, it's now 10 months, guys. 10 months since Jessica McKay was released from WWE. They're gone. What a waste. Now, I'm hoping that if Jessica's not right in the head, she'll get help. If Cassie is not right in the head, they'll get help. If they both need they feel burnt out, I'm hoping they just take some time off and help themselves. Even if they don't come back, I do want them to be all right because I know what it feels like to not be right. Remember, I have depression with anxiety. I don't hide it. I never hide it. I never hide that there's something wrong. But I come on here to help as an outlet, to try and find myself, to hear comments. So hopefully, if it's because of some type of issues that they're not happy, that they feel burnt out, they made a mistake going to wrestling, I hope they'll take care of themselves and maybe they'll come back. I'm not saying it'll be great when they come back, particularly if they don't do better, but at least they'll be able to take care of themselves. And this is a Gump report. Leave a comment below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.